Welcome back in your money news, your consumer news here. It is that time of the year again. Tax season is here, and as always, there's some changes and some filing rules that we want to tell you about. Financial professional Chris Massenburg from Open Air Advisors is here to really explain what changes you need to keep in mind as you file your taxes this year. Good morning to you. Glad to have you in studio.
Good morning. It's nice to be here.
Yes, of course. All right, let's start off with the new changes that you think people need to know about. They're more important, to talk about.
So there's quite a few changes. Really, the biggest key factor when we talk about tax planning versus tax preparation, a lot of people just circle that date on the calendar. It's time to file. Here's the deadline. Really, what we talk about is planning all year long.
That makes sense.
You do a little bit of planning up front, you can potentially limit that tax liability later. And then if you couple that with financial planning, then you really, rubber starts to meet the road there. That's where you can look at saving for those long-term goals and limiting that tax burden later. And at Open Air Advisors, we work with a lot of clients. Obviously, taxes are a big concern for retirees and my clients. And it's a big piece of the retirement planning puzzle. So as we put together portfolios that kind of protect towards market downside, we also want to be tax efficient as possible to ensure that you don't run out of money in retirement.
That makes sense. And then I guess planning all year round, then you don't have to be rushing for things, at the end of the month here.
Yeah, the early bird does get the worm on that.
You are so right. What about, I guess, those changes like, no stimulus checks this year?
Yeah.
Or has, child tax credits changed at all?
Yeah, so there's a couple of big key things. Standard deductions. So they went up just a little bit for single filers and for joint filing. So that did go up just a little bit. And then you've got things like charitable contributions. Okay, so prior to this year, charitable contribution, if you weren't itemizing on your taxes, you could write off up to a $600 non-itemization charitable contribution. That went away. You can still write off charitable contributions up to a certain percentage, but you do have to itemize in order to get that deduction. And then, as you mentioned, child care tax credits.
Yes.
So the tax credit for the child care was up to $3,600 per person. That's gone back down to $2,000 per child.
Okay.
And then your child care expenses, the things you can write off because you have to work or looking for work, those expenses you can write up to a certain percentage of your income off on those. But that's gone down from $8,000 to $2,100 as well.
That's a big drop.
Yeah, it's a big drop. So also the tax brackets themselves, the percentages didn't change, but the actual numbers in those brackets may have changed. So what you want to look for is make sure you didn't creep up into another bracket and ultimately end up having to pay more taxes you were unaware of.
See, that's why someone would need your help. Mr. Massenburg, how do people connect with you and make sure they get their information correct and get their taxes filed on time?
Yeah, so a great resource would be our website, openairadvisors.com. You can find a lot of this information we talked about here today. You can also set up a one-on-one meeting with myself or an advisor at the firm where you can go over your individual situation and see if we can help you out.
All right, makes sense. I may be looking for your help as well.
I'll be waiting for your call.
Yes. All right, thank you so much for joining us.